Good morning, everyone, and welcome to CP Rochester's virtual ribbon cutting ceremony. This morning, we're celebrating the grand opening of the CP Rochester Transition Apartments, and we are so thankful to so many of you who've been with us every step of the way. My name is Terry Mine, and I'm the Vice President of Strategic Initiatives, and with me this morning, I have Mary Walsh-Boatfield, the President and CEO of Ability Partners Foundation, CP Rochester, Happiness House, and Rochester Rehabilitation. I have the pleasure this morning of thanking many individuals who were vital to us achieving this milestone. And I'd like to start by introducing you to board members from the Ability Partners Foundation Board and the CP Rochester Board. Thank you all to the board members who make it possible for us to undertake these projects and to complete them. As many of you know, the board and administration of CP has been committed to providing non-certified transitional housing in Monroe County. We believe strongly that there was a need for transitional housing options for young adults with developmental disabilities where they could develop the skills and confidence they needed to move to a traditional community apartment setting. This belief was confirmed when we had more than 50 individuals and families respond to a presentation on the original concept. When we added the development of the apartments to our strategic plans, there were plenty of things that were unknown to us. First was, would the town of Henrietta allow us to connect the new apartment building to an existing building so that we could share resources? The answer to this question is yes, and we are very thankful to Steve Schultz, Town of Henrietta Supervisor, the Town of Henrietta Council and Zoning Boards, Tom O'Connor, President of Ale Siegel Community of Agencies, and Ed Perrone from Perrone Engineering for their assistance in us obtaining the approvals and zoning necessary for the project. Once approval was gained, the next question was, how would renovations go? This was the first time that we undertook a project that was mostly renovation versus new construction. Anyone who's done renovation knows that there's always plenty of unknowns. We were thrilled with the design that SWBR's team, Tim Zagarowicz, principal and lead architect, and Kathy DeLucia came up with the project. Then began the actual hard work of making that vision from SWBR into a reality. Battle Construction Corporation's team worked hard for several months. Charlie Battle, president of Battle Construction, and Dave Battle, superintendent for the project, worked tirelessly to make the SWBR vision a reality. Just prior to completing the project, many of you know that we suffered a sprinkler system failure from the existing sprinkler system and had to have 3 of the apartments undergo major repairs. Again, Charlie and Dave rolled up their sleeves and repaired those apartments to their original pristine condition. Today, we have a project that is beautiful and being enjoyed by 7 new tenants. Always a question for development is, how would we fund the project? Mary Boatfield will be thanking our donors in a few minutes, and you'll be hearing from Commissioner Disnauskas and Ann Costello. But I just wanted to take a few minutes to thank our board for their support of the project, as well as Ann Peterson, Director of the New York State Home Program, and Leland Barrett, Project Manager of the New York State Home Program. This was the first time New York State had ever done the Small Rental Development Initiative grants. And like all new grants, there was a lot of paperwork and process to put in place. Ann and Leland have walked us through this new grant process, and we are truly grateful for their support. As moving day grew closer, we needed to confirm that the tenants would have the supports and services they needed beginning on move-in day to safely transition from their parents' home to a life in their own apartment. I would like to thank Ellen Hardy, Regional 1 Director of the Office of Persons with Developmental Disabilities, and her team. The OPWDD team worked with the tenants, their care managers, and our team to ensure the tenants would have the community rehabilitation supports and the housing subsidies they needed to be successful in their new homes. Some tenants selected self-direction, while others selected traditional community rehabilitation services. Both service models have demonstrated that they work, leaving the choice where it should be with the tenants themselves. Last but never least, I'd like to thank the CP Rochester staff. First, Mary Boatfield, our president and CEO, for the vision and direction and opportunity to create the project. Patty Cunningham, our CFO. Donna Posha, Vice President of Individual Family Supports and Services, as her team is doing the day-to-day operations of the program. Lynn Keller, Director of Agency Advancement for Assistance in Grant Writing. Lori Gendron, Intake Coordinator, who's assisted all the new tenants with through application and move-in. Brian Hopkins, Facilities Manager, who has been with Battle Construction every step of the way. And Tina Bennett, Volunteer Coordinator, and as well as the CP Workshop for their work on the gardens and outdoor seating areas. This team has worked together to ensure that the facility would be ready, including beautiful landscaping, outdoor seating, a common area that encourages recreation and socialization. They confirmed that the tenants would have the supports and services they needed when they moved in. Most importantly, they provided reassurance to the tenants and their families that things were going to work out. I hope I haven't missed anyone, and we're going to take a minute and give you a virtual tour of the new property. So this is one of the living rooms in the apartment. Kitchen area and bathroom. In the background. Many of us have said perfect one for one person to move in tomorrow. Some pictures of the common area. At this time, I'd like to read some testimonials from some of the tenants who have moved in. The first testimonial is from Nick. Nick says, "Hello everyone, my name is Nick and I live in the apartments. I am so happy that I have the opportunity to be chosen for the CP transitional apartments. I am able to show all my loved ones that I can do this." The second testimonial is from Phelan. "When I first arrived at the apartments, I was nervous to be on my own in a new space. As time went on, I became more comfortable and started feeling more independent. My advice to anyone who's nervous and thinking about coming to the apartments is that you won't know until you try." Our third testimonial comes from Tyler. And he has shared, "I like living in the apartments because it gives me the space and opportunity to be more independent and to practice some of my favorite things like cooking on my new stove, working on puzzles, and making new friends." The last testimonial is from Brandon, who wants to share with all of you, and I quote, "Moving into the apartments has allowed me to explore the community around me and to meet new people. Living here has given me a new outlook on life because it's the first time that I'm living on my own and embracing my independence." Nick, Phelan, Taylor, and Brandon, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us and for giving us the opportunity to share your journey. Now we're going to share a video interview with Phelan, who wanted us to know more about his big day, the day that he moved from his parents' home to the apartments.
My interest is like mainly modeling, try to be a model, politics mainly, because my family is somewhat political, but not really. And like my goal is to try to be governor one day. Go to Rochester. She's the one who helped me found this place. for a while, I didn't know what she was doing, but I was looking for like other apartments as well, trying to help her out in the process. She found this for me, and I'm like, oh, okay, nice. So, came here like a couple of times, asked some questions. I saw the apartments. They were good, really. Cause like before I was used to quietness. I was like my first awakening was like summer camp. I didn't want to go at first, but I went, and it was just quiet. Like my first night at summer camp, I couldn't sleep really, but so after a while, I got used to the quietness. The best part is, I would say, just being able to walk. Like, you know, you can just breathe in the fresh, clean air. I have some good attendants here that I talk to here and there. The staff here are good, but I don't really see them because I'm always at work. After I leave here, it's just I'm mainly going to stay working, and before my lease is up, I'm going to look for like a place anyway. Like a month in advance before my lease is up, and try to get in there before my lease is fully up. So I'll be like good.
Thank you. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Commissioner of New York State's Home and Community Renewal, Ruth Ann Visnauskas. Ruth Ann Visnauskas was appointed by Commissioner and CEO of New York State Home and Community Renewals by Governor Cuomo in February of 2017. As Commissioner, she leads the agency in carrying out HCR's mission to build, preserve, and protect affordable housing and increase homeownership throughout New York State. Welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you, Terry. It is great to be with you all today. Can you all hear me okay? Great. And thank you to the residents for sharing those stories. There, from my perspective, there's really nothing better than hearing from the people who get to live in these projects that take so many hours and months and years to pull together and are sort of an incredible piece of work. But the sort of icing on the cake is really getting to hear the stories from those that get to live in them. So thank you for doing the quotes that was really a wonderful video. Thank you for doing that. On behalf of the governor and my whole team at HCR, I'm delighted to be here on what are now our, everyday regular Zoom groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings in our new normal. We are delighted to be able to work with CP Rochester, the Golisano Foundation, and all. I mean, this project really had so many funders involved to make it possible. We are really delighted to be able to partner with all of you. I would also follow up on Terry's accolades for Ann Peterson and Leland Barup from HCR's Office of Community Renewal, as well as Crystal Loeffler, and thank them for their focus and being able to deliver a project like this is really great. It's really, it's essential for us to be able to have partners like you to be able to do projects like this. So thank you to them. I also would thank Monroe County and the elected officials and leaders and advocates that have been supportive of these. It's not everywhere we go that people are have open arms for the projects that we do. So we are really delighted to be able to work in places where we have that kind of local elected support. CP Rochester Transition Apartments is going to provide 7 young adults with a home to call their own as they begin a new important chapter in their lives. I'm sure for many of us, we can recall the mixture of excitement and nervousness and pride when moving into our own first apartment. And I'm sure all of these young residents feel the same way. And to boot, will have 24/7 access to the care and support that they need to learn critical independent living skills and to navigate all the challenges that life has always brought us, but especially those that it's bringing us right now. And most importantly, they'll be able to do this together with other young people who are going through a similar experience. And that's really wonderful to be able to provide this kind of supportive and nurturing environment. It's been a successful model for empowering people with disabilities to be able to live independently and to be able to have fulfilling lives. At HCR, we work very hard to provide affordable and supportive opportunities for all New Yorkers. And while Transition Apartments is one of our smaller projects, it is no less important and no less critical. The $413,000 investment through our SRDI program, the Small Rental Development Initiative, enabled this project to be part of an overall funding structure to make it happen. And we're really excited because SRDI was a new program that came out a couple of years ago that we heard from the community was really needed. And so we're really excited to be able to see this funding stream in action for a project like this, and to allow smaller projects to happen. As we heard from many people, there's lots of things that aren't quite a tax credit project, which is sort of HCR's bread and butter. So we were really excited, and I know Anne and her team were really excited to be able to reach so many smaller projects that, but for this sort of slug of capital coming into the project, couldn't happen. So we are really delighted to have this project part of Governor Cuomo's affordable housing plan. Every unit counts. And so all projects, small and large, are equally important to us. I would add on a personal note, I have one of my sisters is developmentally disabled. And so these projects have a special warm spot in my heart. So I'm delighted to be able to be part of this virtual ribbon cutting. I thank CP Rochester and the whole team who worked on this, and to all the residents, I say, welcome home, and I wish you the best of luck. Congratulations and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you, Commissioner Visnauskas, for taking part in our celebration, and thank you for helping to make dreams come true for these 7 individuals. So today is a bright and beautiful day as we gather to celebrate something wonderful happening amidst this terrible, terrible pandemic that has stolen the lives of 400,000 individuals and caused much sadness and suffering to many, many more people. So our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone who is suffering at this time. I am so very proud to say that I am the president and CEO of CP Rochester Happiness House and Rochester Rehabilitation, with a staff of over 600 frontline and essential employees who have worked courageously and tirelessly over the last 300 plus days to keep individuals safe and healthy and happy, while providing them with clinical, educational, residential, and community services. And we also have 60 employees who are frontline workers who've been cleaning the federal building and the RTS during this time too. So many thanks to all of them. Nick and Fallon and Tyler and Brandon and Phelan, thank you. Thank you again for sharing your journey and experiences with us, and for opening up your home today so we could see how beautiful your apartments are in your community room. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being with us this morning to celebrate. This community's passion in addressing unmet needs for young adults with physical, cognitive, and developmental disabilities, and accessing community-based housing and beginning their transition from living with their families and caregivers to building a life for themselves within our community continues, even after 43 years, to inspire me. Today's celebration is a profound reminder of CP Rochester's mission. Our mission is to support individuals of all ages and abilities in determining their own pathways in life. Our agency partners with the individual, with the family, with our community, to fulfill their right to live a productive and rewarding life. A major milestone like this can only be achieved through incredible teamwork. As I came to CP Rochester about 7 years ago, I wanted to create a transition home here in Rochester, in Henrietta. And I knew that this home right across the street from where we're sitting now was the perfect place to create this transition home. And as always, our team, came together to make this happen. So I want to thank Terry and Patty and Donna and Lori and all of the CP Rochester team for making this possible. This has only been made possible by our partners. And as Terry talked about, there's a number of partners who came together to make this happen, right from the town approving the project and kind of putting all the puzzle pieces together to come up with the funding to renovate this house into a beautiful new home for 7 people. So I just want to once again thank New York State Home and Community Renewal, the Golisano Foundation, Wegmans, New York State OPWDD, El Segal, Senator Gallivan, and a number of the people who have already been recognized today for making this happen. So at this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce a friend and a champion for all people with developmental disabilities, Ann Costello, Executive Director of the Golisano Foundation. Many thanks to Ann for her philanthropic leadership, and to Tom Golisano and the Golisano Board of Trustees for making this partnership possible. Under Ann's leadership, the Golisano Foundation has always supported and launched innovative partnerships and programs just like this one. So I welcome Ann to say a few words.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you everyone for attending today and for the remarks that preceded mine. I probably could just say ditto and be done with it, because I certainly will be expressing much of the same sentiment that the others have. But I wanted to just reflect on for a moment the journey and the Golisano's motto and tagline, imagine the possibilities. I don't know anybody who imagines the possibilities more than Mary Boatfield and her team and the board of CP Rochester and Happiness House. And this is just an example of imagining the possibilities. I think, Mary, your tagline should be, yes, we can. And just do it, although I think that one's already taken. So maybe yes, we can, and we will, and nobody will stop us and stand in our way. I chuckled when in Terry's opening remarks, she said, when Mary comes up with these ideas, one of the first questions that the team asks is, Mary, how are we going to fund that project? Well, that's exactly what I always say to Mary when she comes to me with these blueprints already drawn up. Mary, how are we going to fund this project? And she always says, well, certainly with the Golisano's help and with the help of so many others, because as she always says, and I believe right with her, this has to be done. We need to do this. Our individuals need this. Our families need this. Our community needs this. And while we celebrate these 7 apartments and the 13 or 14 that was built in 2014 out in Ontario, there are many more that need transitional supported housing arrangements. And Mary, I'm right with you. Yes, we can, and we will need to build more. We've had 2 experiences now in Ontario and now right here in Henrietta. And we will learn and we will build and we will grow other opportunities for young adults as they transition from their homes to independent living, as Ruth Ann said, just as all of us did. And what pride we have in that first apartment, how nervous, I think one of the residents said she was nervous, but you never know that you can do it until you try. This is all about trying. This is about what young adults, whether you have intellectual disabilities or not, needs to be doing in their 20s and 30s. Try it, see how it goes, and with support, you certainly will be successful, as we all have. I just, again, want to thank all the partners. You know, Tom always says he doesn't want to stand up on the stage alone. And this is another example of not standing on the stage alone. Everyone on this call and every agency that helped find funds to renovate this home has been part of this journey. And I thank you. And I also am happy to be part of the journey and this wonderful project. I can't wait to come over and see it. I have had the benefit and the experience of the before, and now I've seen the after in the virtual tour, but I really want to see it up close and personal. So now that the vaccines are rolling out, hopefully everyone on this call and our families and loved ones will be getting it sooner than later. We all need to reconvene and join together, Mary. Let's plan that and have a real grand opening party in the community room, toasting to the 7 residents on their journey of independence. So again, thank you all for joining the Golisano Foundation. Thank you for joining CP Rochester and Happiness House, and look forward to seeing all of you soon. Stay safe and healthy in 2021. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Anne. And that we will keep that promise. We will set a date and we will work towards coming together safely to do that.
Good.
Thank you so much. Always heartfelt remarks. So thank you. So I'm going to turn it over to Terry.
So we're going to share the actual ribbon cutting with you at this time.
1, 2, 3.
Before we finish today, I just want to take a moment to thank Cheryl Coppola, Vice President of Ability Partner Foundation, and Riley, Associate Director of the Foundation, for their assistance with this morning's program. On behalf of CP Rochester, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time in your busy schedule this morning to celebrate the grand opening of our transitional apartments. Thank you and stay healthy.